What's good? It's your boy Fanon. I'm going to talk about the middleweights. This is my my week of heavyweights and middleweights. And Jermall Charlo, of course, was fighting Centino. And in a few weeks, I believe it is March 3rd. So it's just coming up around the corner. That must be on the undercard of or a co-main eventer. I'm not sure which one, with Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz. So in doing so, though, before I say that, man, look, I listened to Dante's Boxing Nation's interview of Abel Sanchez, and I'll get to that to a minute, man. It was really interesting, man. I shout out to Dante's Boxing Nation and the work he did. Now, before I get into that, man, I'm going to ask, if people have not subscribed to the channel who come by and watch, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And then for the purposes of the live streams that we're going to do, I want to make sure, because I don't schedule them on a regular basis, that people that are interested to ask questions and have good conversations with other boxing fans are able to make it to the live stream, and you'll be able to know when those come up when you hit the bell icon. So, and then also, I'm starting to do more things on Twitter and just posting the articles that I talk about. So if you follow on Twitter, you'll immediately get the articles and the source material for the conversations that I have. So please do those things if you mind. If not, man, welcome to the channel. So now that aside, Charlo, there's an article that came out with Keith Idec this morning, and Charlo says, "I don't give an ish what Centino did. I'm no Aleem." The last time Hugo Centino Jr. encountered an unbeaten opponent, Centino knocked him out with one punch. Centino cracked Emmanuel Aleem with the counter left hook that knocked Aleem silly in the third round of their August 25th fight in Miami, Oklahoma. Aleem fell to the canvas like a chopped tree and couldn't continue. That spectacular sequence made Centino's victory a candidate for knockout of the year. That dramatic victory also moved Centino into the position to fight for the WBC's interim middleweight title March 3rd. His opponent that night, Jermall Charlo, isn't impressed. I'm no Aleem, and I'll let you all see that whenever March 3rd gets here. That I'm no Aleem. Well, March 3rd, my son is going to get there on March 3rd. Anyway, Charlo said during a conference call on Thursday, "It's a whole nother ball game, and when you face Charlo, you got to be ready for power yourself. So I hope they're ready." Centino's lone loss was a 10th round technical knockout defeat to Selecki, who, by the way, is also going to be, I believe, is fighting Daniel Jacobs in June 2016. Poland Selecki, 26-0 with 10 KOs, drilled Centino with the straight right hand that dropped him. Centino got up but didn't protest when referee Mark Nelson determined he couldn't continue. The 27-year-old Centino also settled for no contest against Juan Williams, J-Rock, in September of 2013. Centino suffered a cut near his left eye caused by an accidental headbutt with Williams in the 4th round, and a ringside physician stopped that fight because Centino indicated he couldn't see properly. Philadelphia's Williams, J-Rock, was ahead on the scorecard at the time. But this is what Charlo says specifically. "I don't give an ish what he did." I love Charlo. Who knocked out Williams in the 5th round of their December 16th bout. "I don't care if he has improved. I don't care how many miles he ran. I don't care what trainer he switched to. It don't matter. Whenever I get in the ring, they're going to see what I'm really made of and what I really come to do. I've been working my tail off since they didn't get me no credit for the Heelan fight. I'm the best 160-pounder out there. They're not going to give me the credit until I keep whooping tail, and that's what I'm here to do." The 27-year-old Charlo, who's 26-0 with 20 knockouts, stopped short of predicting a knockout in the scheduled 12-round bout. Showtime will televise from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. If he's able to withstand this power, this speed, this athleticism, the glory that God gave me. And then he's going to make it the distance, Charlo said. If not, I'm going to hurt him real bad. Real bad. So that's the interview came out, and I'll put that on the Twitter. And, hit me up on the Twitter, man. It's in the description box below. Now, there's been a lot of talk. Now, here's my discussion with this. First of all, again, I listened to Dante's Boxing Nation, and he did an absolutely excellent job of interviewing Abel Sanchez. I think this was in August. Go check it out on his channel. It was definitely a very interesting argument because Abel Sanchez was talking about whether or not Jermall Gennady Golovkin was going to fight Triple G. Now, as far as this fight with Centeno goes, look, my only question about this fight is, what round Centeno's going to go. And I doubt very much he's going to make it out that fight. But if he does, I still see it as a win for Charlo. Nothing's promised in this world, so I can't guarantee that. That's why you train. That's why Charles got to train hard. Centeno's got to train hard. So we'll see what actually happens in the ring. But based on what I've seen from both of these guys, I think Charlo, the Charlo's going to win this, and this is probably, too much for Centeno. And if Charlo does what I'm expecting he can do, then he's going to be sitting there with the opportunity to get that WBC belt. If the winner of Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin, whoever has that WBC belt. I don't believe Canelo is going to be the one that's going to have that belt because Canelo's already acting like he doesn't want the WBC belt because of whatever issues he had, which is outside the scope of this video, but whatever issues he had with the WBC, he's not in love with the WBC. And so more than likely that belt's going to be up for grabs if he wins, which I expect him to do. However, if Gennady Golovkin wins and Gennady Golovkin holds that belt, then Gennady Golovkin is going to have to make a decision about whether he's going to fight Triple G whether he's going to fight. Gennady Golovkin is going to have to figure out whether or not he's going to fight Jermall Charlo or not. Now, from the sound of Abel Sanchez, and this is why I was very, very impressed with what Dante's Boxing Nation did. He just pinned Abel Sanchez off the noise. Because before Abel Sanchez was saying, why would, what has Charlo done, Jermall Charlo done, what has he done to deserve a shot? And then Dante's Boxing Nation went and started mentioning a bunch of other scenarios where a champion from a lower weight class immediately moved up to fight the champion. He mentioned Pernell Whitaker against, I believe the guy's name is Vasquez. I can mention what's going on right now with Terrence Crawford immediately moving up to fight Jeff Horn. So it's not unprecedented. It's not Bob. I'm pretty sure Bob Foster did the same thing, moved right up and fought Frazier. I think Frazier might have been the first one he fought, or maybe it was Ali. But it's happened before, right? Now, I've also made, just, to full disclosure here, I've also said that I don't necessarily believe that the WBC, that sanctioning bodies should automatically make a champion from the welterweight division a mandatory. So in the case of Terrence Crawford and Jeff Horn, the WBO made Terrence Crawford the mandatory. But if Jeff Horn had a voluntary and he wanted to fight Terrence Crawford moving up, I don't see any problem with that at all. So he was talking, but this was a scenario where Abel Sanchez is saying that Gennady Golovkin wouldn't fight Jermall Charlo unless the WBC forced him to do so. And in honestly, man, it was an excellent job from I know I've said that, but I just keep going over my head how good a job Dante's Boxing Nation did of boxing in Abel Sanchez to the point where Abel Sanchez was talking loud and getting shaky because he just had him. Because Abel Sanchez's whole logic was that what has he done? And then he said, but what has Kell Brook done? Didn't Kell Brook just move up didn't he just move up and fight Gennady Golovkin in the first fight. Then Abel Sanchez said, well, yeah, but he was there. He was there. He was available. So that's why he did it. He did it. And if anybody else had been there, then Gennady Golovkin would have done it because he was there. That was an option. And so Dante was like, what? Are you telling me that is that Kell Brook got there because he was there, but yet isn't Jermall Charlo there? You know what I mean? Then they started talking about money. And he said, where's the money for it? The real reason these guys moved up and got shots right away is because the champions could make more money. And Gennady Golovkin has more options for money, like the Canelo Alvarez rematch. There's the Danny Jacobs rematch. And, that I think he said, at least the top of the interview, because I cut it out, was that Gennady Golovkin versus Charlo was bad for boxing. Anyway, man, I was completely entertained, and I suggest that anybody that's not seen that video, take the time, go to Dante's Boxing Nation, and look up the video that says Abel Sanchez says Jermall Charlo versus Gennady Golovkin is bad for boxing. It was an excellent example of boxing trainer doing tap dance and falling on his face. Man, that shit was hilarious. But at the end of the day, man, that conversation shows me the fear that Jermall Charlo, or better yet, that what Jermall Charlo says in this article might very well be true. That he's the best 160-pound out there, and they're not going to give me a credit until I keep whooping these guys' ass, and that's what I'm here to do. And and that's what he's going to have to do but if he keeps doing that, he's going to get that WBC belt. Because just the sounding in Abel Sanchez's deliverance tells me that dude Gennady Golovkin's going to run for Abel Sanchez is going to advise Gennady Golovkin to go get some easier money. So if he loses that belt, you can expect Gennady Golovkin to probably go and he won't have any belts. He won't have any belts. The only belt that he could have if it's not on the line is the WBC. That's the killer. If Gennady Golovkin wins, if Gennady Golovkin loses, now that I think about it, the WBC belt, Canelo Alvarez is going to wind up getting the WBA and the IBF. He won't get the WBC because he's not going to fight for the WBC unless something changes, which means Gennady Golovkin will probably, since it's not on the line, Gennady Golovkin might keep that WBC. If he keeps that WBC, then he has to fight Jermall Charlo. If he doesn't, then I believe how it works is that Jermall Charlo is going to become the champion. I don't think that they would make Jermall Charlo, and I have to do my research on this. I can't recall because the flow of the conversation of this video just kind of hit me, to go that direction. But anyway, Jermall Charlo is going to wind up with that WBC belt, and then if Gennady Golovkin doesn't want to take that fight, so Abel Sanchez is what he said needed to happen to have Jermall Charlo versus Gennady Golovkin might very well happen if Gennady Golovkin loses to Canelo. Which, by the way, I'm telling you, I see that happening. Canelo Alvarez is talking about how he promises that he's going to knock out Gennady Golovkin. From the look of the last fight, I don't see that happening. I don't see Canelo being able to knock out Gennady Golovkin. I think Canelo Alvarez, what I thought was a tendency in Canelo Alvarez, really when he was just, that I saw against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. In that fight, which was completely one-sided bloodbath, there was no chance that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was going to win that fight. Canelo backed up against the ropes several times and tried to counterpunch off the ropes. I don't know if he was working in preparation for Gennady Golovkin, if that's something he just figured he was going to practice, right? That's what I thought. I thought, Canelo's just is just trying to carry Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. a little bit by letting up off of him, because I thought if Canelo Alvarez really just wanted to continue to light off on just to light off on Chavez, that he probably could have got him out of there or just beat him so bad that, the referee would have stopped it or somebody would have stopped there, jumped in and stopped it. But he got up against the ropes. And he was, he wasn't getting hit very much on the ropes. He shelled up on the ropes. But, he did it there. And I thought that was just something where he was trying to carry Chavez. But then I saw him do the same thing versus Gennady Golovkin, where he got on the rope and he didn't just shell up completely, but he got on the ropes. He was evading punches from in close. Canelo Alvarez has, in my opinion, most underrated part of his game. And that's why I have Canelo Alvarez so high as far as how I rank fighters in boxing. If it wasn't for the fact that Terrence Crawford had unified at 140, I would have Canelo Alvarez as my top guy based on based on the people that he's beaten, questionable or not, and his skills, because that guy has got tremendous upper body. From what I can see, he has tremendous upper body movement. His ability to stay in the pocket and avoid punches in the pocket and counter, man, I just love that guy's game, man. That inside kind of mid-range game. And if guys like Caleb Plant could get that into his game along with that footwork and hand speed, man, Caleb Plant might be able to beat David Benavidez. But anyway, man, I digress. I left the 160s and went to the 168s. The point of the matter is, though, that Gennady Golovkin, I think, is gonna lose against Canelo Alvarez, because Canelo Alvarez will probably go away from that, sitting on the ropes for extended periods of time, right? And kind of just, maybe he's resting. Maybe he thought that Gennady Golovkin was going to tire out. But I thought he got the first 3 rounds. I thought he got the last 3 rounds. And if he can do the same thing, and I believe he can, then he's going to win that I believe he's going to win it by a decision. Whether it's unanimous or split, I can't tell you. However, I'm more sure that he's going to win the second one than I was the first one. And I was pretty sure that he was going to win the first one. I thought he would have had the ability to knock him out. So that said, if that happens, then Abel Sanchez is going to get what he is going to come full circle for him, because he will be forced to either move up to 168 pounds or fight without a belt and take a rematch with Danny Jacobs, a rematch with Danny Jacobs that really has nothing to offer. I don't think that there's a possibility of well, of course there's a possibility, but could Gennady Golovkin fight Canelo Alvarez in what HBO's saying that they want, which is a third fight? If it's close and Canelo Alvarez is inclined to do it, then that could happen. My feeling is that I don't think the fight's going to be that close. I think it's going to be a real convincing win for Canelo Alvarez. But regardless, the subject of the video is Jermall Charlo, and I don't see a scenario where Gennady Golovkin is going to fight him, and more than likely Jermall Charlo is going to wind up with a WBC belt. How in the world Jermall Charlo can get Canelo Alvarez? I think he has to do what he's saying. He's got to continue to push the envelope, keep knocking dudes out, keep beating cats as badly as he can. Maybe he needs to take the route of trying to go get the WBO belt from Billy Joe Saunders, or Billy Joe Saunders vacates and moves up to 168. Whoever winds up getting that WBO belt, because I don't think that Canelo Alvarez is going to fight Billy Joe Saunders. I heard that from Eric Gomez. The style is not, I think Billy Joe Saunders is super dangerous. I think, and I am always saying that I don't think that Oscar De La Hoya and those guys are really, trying. They're not going to risk their golden boy for Golden Boy's not going to risk their golden boy for for Billy Joe Saunders. But hopefully, you know, if there's gets enough push behind Jermall Charlo's looking exciting enough, you know, that this can be built up into a situation where Charlo can get his hands on Canelo. But, you know, Al Heyman and the PBC, who knows, man. Anyway, man, I'm certainly hoping that Jermall Charlo, you know, can get what he wants. I see Jermall Charlo kind of running through Santino. I see him running through him in spectacular fashion. And hopefully that'll put the pressure on these other guys to get in the ring with him. There's absolutely no justification for what Abel Sanchez was saying. And, you know, if you haven't seen the video, check it out, because truly, it's hilarious. So anyway, that's it. Leave your comments in the comments section. If you've not subscribed and you made it this far in the video, hey man, definitely hit the subscribe and the bell icon so we can get together on the live streams. And with that, I'm out. Peace.